Millionaire CEO took his twins on a blind date, pretended to be broke. Everything changed when she offered to pay the bill. Before we continue, please tell us where in the world are you watching from? We love seeing how far our stories travel. You've got to be kidding me, Grace, Ethan muttered, loosening his tie as he stood by the window of his corner office overlooking downtown Portland. The rain streaked the glass like tired tears, the kind that matched exactly how he felt. His assistant, Grace Parker, leaned on the doorframe, smirking like she'd just set up the world's greatest plan. "One last blind date," she said, holding up her phone like a peace offering. "You promised me, remember? Just one more, and if it's a disaster, I'll stop." Ethan ran a hand through his hair, half laughing, half groaning. "Every time you say that, Grace, I end up across from someone who's more interested in my net worth than what I ordered for dinner." He had stopped believing in real connection long ago, after his wife's accident 3 years back. Since then, the only people he truly let close were his 7-year-old twins, Olivia and Owen. They were his world, his reason to smile even when life felt heavier than ever. Grace crossed her arms, not backing down. "Maybe this one's different," she said, grinning. "Her name's Maya. She's not from your world. She's just real. Give her a chance." He chuckled, shaking his head. "You're really not going to drop this, huh?" "Nope," she said. "And hey, maybe don't show up in a suit worth more than her car this time." That made him stop. A slow smirk curved on his lips. "You know what? Maybe I won't." That's when Ethan decided, if he was doing this, he'd do it on his terms. No fancy cars, no expensive watches, no mention of the company he built from scratch. Just a single dad showing up to a blind date, looking like an ordinary man. He even took his old beat-up Ford truck out of the garage, the one his wife used to call their reality check. That evening, Ethan's twins refused to stay home. "We want to come," Olivia said, clinging to his arm. "You promised you'd get pancakes after." Ethan sighed but couldn't say no to those faces. "All right," he said, "but you two are on your best behavior." "Deal?" "Deal!" they cheered in unison. The cafe wasn't fancy. Warm lights, chatter, the smell of coffee and cinnamon. And then he saw her, Maya. She wasn't dressed to impress. Just a simple blue dress and a messy bun, like she hadn't tried to be anyone but herself. She smiled nervously when she saw him walk in, then looked down at the two kids clinging to his hands. "Oh," she said softly, bending down. "Hey there. You two must be the real bosses tonight, huh?" Ethan blinked. Most people got awkward when they saw his kids. Maya didn't. She smiled wide as Olivia giggled, and Owen hid shyly behind his dad. For the first time in a long time, Ethan felt something loosen inside him. No judgment, no pretense, just warmth. And as Maya led them to their table, chatting about the kids' favorite pancakes like it was the most natural thing in the world, Ethan couldn't help but think, maybe, just maybe, Grace had been right. He didn't know it yet, but this one night, this one ordinary, rainy Portland evening, was about to change everything he thought he knew about love, truth, and what it really means to be seen. "Hey, you two hungry?" Maya asked with a grin as she slid into the booth across from them. Olivia's hand shot up instantly. "Starving," she said, earning a laugh from Maya that sounded more genuine than anything Ethan had heard in months. The waitress came over, notebook in hand, but before Ethan could open his mouth, Maya leaned in toward the twins. "All right, I'll make a deal with you guys," she said in a playful tone. "You pick what we're all having, but I get to choose dessert." Owen's eyes widened. "Even pancakes for dinner?" "Especially pancakes for dinner," she said with a wink. Ethan leaned back, watching her. Most people tried to impress him with forced charm, fake laughs, or name-dropping. But Maya, she was just there, effortless. And the way she talked to his kids, it wasn't like someone pretending to care. It was real. When the food came, the twins practically dove into their pancakes. Maya smiled and started cutting Owens into smaller bites before even touching her plate. Ethan noticed. She didn't eat until the kids were done. "Go ahead," he said softly. "You've barely taken a bite." She looked up, shrugged, and said, "Kids first." "That's kind of my rule." Ethan smiled faintly. "You have kids?" Her expression faltered for a second. "No," she said quietly. but I take care of my younger brother. He's 9. After our parents passed, it's been just the two of us. That hit Ethan harder than he expected. He saw something in her eyes, a quiet resilience that mirrored his own. That must have been tough, he said. Maya just smiled softly. It's life, you know? You don't get to pick the storms. You just learn to walk through the rain. Olivia suddenly piped up, holding out her fork. You can share mine if you want, Maya laughed. That's the sweetest offer I've had all week. The conversation flowed easily after that. Maya told stories about her brother's wild imagination, and Ethan found himself laughing, really laughing, for the first time in a long while. But something unexpected kept tugging at him. The way she looked at his kids, the way she smiled at the smallest things, the way she didn't flinch when Olivia spilled syrup across the table. Instead, she grabbed napkins and said, "That's how you know it's a real meal." By the time dessert came, Maya's cheeks hurt from smiling. Ethan's twins were half asleep, leaning against each other. The night had turned golden. Slow jazz playing in the background, city lights twinkling through rain-streaked glass. As the check arrived, Ethan instinctively reached for his wallet, but Maya stopped him. She said. You got dinner last time. He blinked. Last time? She froze for a second, realizing what she said, then laughed nervously. Sorry, I just meant, you look like someone who always pays. Let me cover dessert at least, Ethan chuckled, leaning back. You're stubborn, aren't you? Only when I'm right, she teased. He couldn't help but smile. She was nothing like anyone he'd met before. She didn't know he was the CEO of one of the biggest tech firms in Portland. She didn't care, and for once that felt freeing. When they finally stepped outside, the rain had stopped. The kids were asleep in his arms. Maya looked up at the cloudy sky and whispered, I love when the world smells new after a storm. Ethan looked at her, the streetlight catching her profile soft and real, and thought, maybe this is what new beginnings actually look like. He didn't know that behind her calm smile, Maya's world was quietly falling apart, and he was about to be the one who changed that forever. Hey, thanks again for tonight, Ethan said as he buckled the twins into their car seats. They haven't smiled like that in months. Maya leaned against the car door, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. They're great kids, she said softly. You must be doing something right. Ethan laughed lightly, the sound almost bitter. If you call burned dinners and mismatched socks doing something right, then yeah, I guess I am. Maya smiled, that kind of smile that didn't need words. You're trying, Ethan. That's what matters. Most people don't even do that. The way she said it, steady, warm, honest, it hit him in a place he didn't know still existed. He wanted to say something back, something real, but before he could, a car honked nearby, and she waved it off. That's my bus, she said. Wait, Ethan blurted out. You're taking the bus at this hour? She shrugged casually. Cheaper than gas, and my car's been acting up lately. He frowned. I can drive you. She shook her head quickly. No, really, it's fine. You've got the kids, and I don't live far. But something about the way she said it didn't sit right with him. As she walked away, a light drizzle began to fall again, soft at first, then steadier. She pulled her jacket tighter, disappearing into the night. Ethan stood there for a moment, watching until she vanished behind the fog streetlights. The next day, he couldn't get her out of his head. The way she had comforted his kids, the tired smile she gave when she thought no one was looking, the quiet sadness behind her laughter. It wasn't romantic obsession. It was concern, genuine and deep. So when the twins begged to go back to the diner that weekend, he didn't hesitate. They took the same booth, same table, same stack of pancakes. But Maya wasn't there. Is Maya working today? Olivia asked the hostess. The woman hesitated. She called in sick a few days ago. Haven't heard from her since Ethan's stomach dropped. Do you know where she lives? He asked before catching himself. The hostess shook her head. No, sorry. She keeps to herself. That night, after putting the twins to bed, Ethan sat on the edge of his couch, staring at the ceiling. Something felt off. He didn't know her well, but he knew something was wrong. He'd seen that look before. The one people wear when they're pretending everything's fine while barely holding it together. Against his better judgment, he made a few calls. To the diner manager, to a friend at City Records, to anyone who could help him find an address. By midnight, he was parked in front of a small, run-down apartment building on the outskirts of the city. The hallway smelled faintly of dust and cheap cleaning supplies. He knocked. No answer. He was about to leave when he heard a weak voice from inside. "Who is it?" "It's Ethan," from the diner. A pause. Then the sound of the lock clicking open. The door creaked. Maya stood there, pale and tired, wrapped in an oversized hoodie. Behind her, the apartment was dimly lit, cluttered but neat. Coloring books, a broken toaster, a stack of unpaid bills on the counter. Her little brother peeked out from behind her leg, his eyes wide. "You didn't show up for work," Ethan said softly. "I got worried." She forced a small smile. "I just needed a few days. My brother's asthma got bad again. Hospital bills, medications. It's been rough." Ethan's chest tightened. "You should have called someone." "Who, Ethan?" she said, voice trembling. "I don't really have anyone to call." He didn't know what to say. The girl who'd been strong, full of light, standing there, she looked fragile, like she was trying not to fall apart. He stepped forward slightly. "You're not alone anymore," he said quietly. "Let me help." Maya shook her head, eyes welling up. "You don't even know me." Ethan met her gaze. "I know enough. You fed my kids before yourself. That's all I need to know." For a long moment, neither spoke. Then slowly Maya looked down, her voice barely a whisper. "You really shouldn't care this much." But he already did, and deep down, she knew it too. Outside, the rain began again, the same kind that started the night they met. Only this time, it didn't feel cold. It felt like the beginning of something neither of them were ready for, but both desperately needed. "Ethan, you really didn't have to come," Maya said, trying to sound casual as she poured him a cup of coffee from her chip pot. The smell of instant brew filled the small kitchen. Her brother Liam sat quietly at the table coloring with a half-broken crayon. Ethan glanced around the place. Cracked walls, a heater that buzzed like it was on its last breath, and a tiny window that barely let in light. "Yeah, well," he said, rubbing the back of his neck. "I wasn't about to just text and ask, 'Hey, you okay?' Like some random dude who didn't mean it." Maya looked down at the counter, her lips twitching into the faintest smile. "You sound like you do this often," he chuckled. "What? Care about people? Nah, I'm usually terrible at it. But you kind of make it easy." Her eyes met his for just a second before she turned away again, pretending to wipe something off the counter. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was full, heavy with all the things neither of them was ready to say. "Liam," Ethan said after a moment, crouching down beside the boy, "you like superheroes?" Liam nodded quickly. "Yeah, Spider-Man's the best." "Good choice," Ethan said, smiling. "You know, I've got this old box of comics at my place. Maybe I'll bring some by next time." Liam's eyes lit up. Maya looked at Ethan sharply. "Next time?" she asked, half teasing, half wary. He shrugged. "Yeah, unless you're planning to move to Mars." She let out a soft laugh, the kind that had warmth in it, not just politeness. "No, Mars rent's too high," she said. For a few seconds, the world outside seemed to stop. The hum of the fridge, the scratch of Liam's crayon, even the faint drizzle outside. It all faded. It was just them. Later that evening, after Liam had fallen asleep, Maya sat across from Ethan on the couch. She was quiet, fidgeting with her sleeve. "You know," she said softly, "I don't usually let people in like this. Not after everything." Ethan leaned forward slightly. "Everything?" She hesitated, then exhaled slowly. "My parents passed 3 years ago. I was in college studying to be a nurse. Then Liam got sick. I dropped out to take care of him. Been working 2, sometimes 3 jobs since." Ethan's jaw tightened. He'd spent his life surrounded by people who threw money around like it meant something. Yet here she was, barely scraping by, but somehow radiating strength. "You're something else, you know that?" he said quietly. Maya looked up, eyebrows raised. "Something else good or bad?" Good, he said simply. Really good. The room went quiet again, but this time it wasn't uncomfortable. It was warm, safe. Then Ethan's phone buzzed. He ignored it once, twice, but the third time it lit up with a name. Rachel, his assistant. Maya glanced at the screen. Work? She asked, trying to sound casual. He hesitated before answering. Yeah, something like that. She nodded slowly. You must be important, huh? Ethan smiled faintly. Not as much as people think. He didn't tell her the truth, that he was one of the most powerful CEOs in the city, that the suit he'd worn that first night cost more than her monthly rent. He didn't tell her that the restaurant he'd taken her to was his own, or that the charity gala he was skipping tomorrow night was being hosted in his name, because for the first time in his life, he didn't want someone to see his money. He wanted them to see him. As he drove home that night, her laughter still echoed in his head. The smell of coffee lingered on his sleeve, and for reasons he couldn't quite explain, his chest felt lighter. But the next morning, reality came crashing back. His assistant burst into his office with panic in her voice. Mr. Hayes, she said breathlessly, we have a problem. Someone leaked photos of you dining with a waitress last week. The press is having a field day. They're calling her your secret girlfriend. Ethan's blood ran cold. What? Rachel nodded. It's all over social media. They're saying you're seeing someone beneath your class. He clenched his jaw, the words stinging more than he expected. Beneath his class. That phrase was everything he hated about his world. He grabbed his coat and keys. Cancel my meeting, he ordered. All of them. Where are you going? Rachel asked, startled. He didn't answer, but she saw the look in his eyes and she knew. He was going to her. Ethan? What are you doing here? Maya's voice trembled as she opened the door, clutching her robe. It was still early, the sky a dull gray from the morning rain. She hadn't even brushed her hair yet, and there he was, standing on her doorstep, soaked to the bone, his jaw tight, his eyes full of something between guilt and panic. Maya, he said breathless, I need to explain before you see it online. She frowned, crossing her arms. See what? He took a deep breath. Someone took pictures of us at the diner walking to your place. It's all over the news. They're calling you my secret affair. His voice cracked slightly. And they're not being kind. Maya blinked, her stomach twisting. You're kidding. I wish I was, Ethan said softly, running a hand through his hair. My PR team wants to handle it, but the way they said it, he shook his head. They mean make you disappear. She stared at him, her heart pounding. And you came here to what? Apologize? Tell me it was fun while it lasted? He stepped closer, desperate. No, I came here to tell you I'm not letting them do that to you. To us, she froze at that word. Us. Ethan, she said quietly. I don't even know who you really are. His throat worked as he swallowed hard. You're right. You don't. He reached into his pocket, pulled out his car keys and tossed them onto her counter. I'm not just Ethan. I'm Ethan Hayes, the owner of Hayes Enterprises, the company that owns that restaurant you work at, the company you probably hate right now. Maya's lips parted. You... what? He nodded, his voice breaking. I lied because I wanted to see if someone could actually see me, not my bank account. And you did. You treated me like I was a regular guy, and for once, I didn't feel like I had to fake it. For a long, painful moment, she didn't say a word. The rain outside filled the silence. Then she spoke, her voice low. You lied to me, Ethan. You walked into my life pretending to be something you're not. And now the whole world's dragging me because of you. He stepped forward again. Then let me fix it. Her eyes filled with tears. You can't fix trust. He exhaled, defeated, and took a step back. Maybe not, but I can try to prove it. The next morning, Maya woke to dozens of missed calls, but one video stood out. Ethan Hayes, standing behind a podium at a press conference, facing a sea of reporters. Her name is Maya Collins, he said clearly. And before anyone tries to twist the story, let me make one thing clear. She didn't chase me for money or fame. She didn't even know who I was. She's a hard-working woman who looked after my kids when I couldn't. She showed me what being real actually means. So if you're going to drag someone, drag me. but leave her out of it. The video ended with him walking away. No questions, no PR spin, just truth. By afternoon, Maya's phone buzzed again. A message. Ethan. Dinner. My place. Just us. No cameras. No lies. She didn't reply immediately, but that night, when she stood at his door again, wearing her favorite red dress, he smiled for the first time in days. Hi, she said softly. Hi, he whispered back, eyes warm. You came. I came to see if you really meant what you said. I did, he said, voice low but sure. And if you let me, I'll spend the rest of my life proving it. Maya stared at him for a long second, her heart thudding, before she smiled faintly. Then I guess dinner's a good place to start. And for the first time, the cold-hearted millionaire finally felt warm again. Sometimes love finds us when we least expect it. Not through grand gestures, but in quiet moments of honesty and second chances. If this journey touched your heart, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss another story that stirs the soul. And before you leave, click on one of the videos on your screen, because every story we share holds another moment that might change the way you see love, family, and second chances.